I have like two kind of theories about why the AMC thing kind of came up after GameStop, and I kind of already spoke on a little bit of it, that, you know, people saw what happened with GameStop. They wanted to also get that kind of action, and they were looking for the next thing. That next thing was AMC. But I also think that maybe AMC was designed to be that way simply because of the simple strategy of dividing and conquering.
Yeah.
And I think that is why a lot of the GameStop people don't like AMC people.
Oh, yeah.
Is because they're pointing to that as like...
It's like a stolen valor kind of.
Yeah. Like well, it's not only that. It's also the fact that...
Which I don't agree with, but I understand where that comes from.
Yeah. It's also that they're arguing that if all that capital were to simply just to flow into GME instead of AMC,
right,
then maybe things would be different today. Maybe it would have already happened.
Yeah.
But instead, you divide and conquer, and now you have two tickers. But with that being said, too, I think the basket swap theory is real.
Yeah.
There's no denying whether you don't like AMC, whether you don't like GameStop because you're holding one or the other.
Right.
You can look at the chart and see that both these stocks correlate significantly. Statistically, almost in an impossible way.
Yeah.
It's definitely unnatural, that's for sure.
Oh, I've got a video that I made 6 months ago where I went through and did this quasi-statistical analysis of the correlation between AMC and GameStop. And you know, you look at the macro, you know, anywhere on like a 30-minute chart, you'll see a very strong correlation. When you start to really expand that gradient and you go to these lower time frames, like the 15-minute, the 10-minute, the 5-minute, fuck it, if you're feeling ballsy, go to the 1 tick. You'll find these discrepancies where things go inversely correlated. And I don't think I ever released this part, which I need to. If you take the data points where you have this divergence and correlation occur, so if GameStop starts going up and AMC goes down, or vice versa, you will also find that there is this sudden, seemingly out of nowhere, debatably divine, interventionally created tension on social media, just out of the blue, where what the fuck is going on? It's the ghost of Lou. It's the ghost of Moaz past.
Lou heard us talking shit, and now he's knocking on the door with a butt of a gun. Open up, you transmissibilites. Whatever the fuck he said.
That motherfuckers. But I did some digging into these accounts that just out of nowhere start to antagonize, and I had a 90% confidence interval that says that these are bot accounts. These are not human.
Yeah.
And the point of this is that you look at the macro, right, which are typically these charts that are pulled up on mainstream media, blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to go QAnon with this bitch, but anywhere that really doesn't have any incentive to push the truth, because those who are helping incentivize their own business don't want that. So when you look at who these accounts are, you notice that they're probably not real. But on top of that, these macro charts that are displayed on, you know, really any news segment, for good reason. I mean, obviously you want to have a macro perspective on a chart that has speculation. But you look and they seem like they're tied to the nuts with each other, where it's just same. But when you expand that gradient and you look at the detail, there are these intermittent differences where they just go completely in polar opposite directions. And that's when you see this just random out of the blue, no reason whatsoever, antagonizing of these.
I mean, so perfect example here is I was watching Matt Kohrs back in the day. The reason why I was watching him is because Twitter was shitting all over him, because it was a day where AMC went down like 8% or something. It's arbitrary.
It's around late May.
Man, I don't remember. I knew it was in the summer, like maybe June or something.
I kind of remember that day.
And
I think.
And he was saying that, okay, like AMC isn't the play. like GME is the play, and that was solely based on one day of price action, where GameStop was up like, I don't know, 20%, and AMC was down like 8 or something. I don't remember the percentages, but it was like an inflection point almost. Yeah. Where all these people were kind of like infighting on Twitter. Oh yeah. And it was like, it worked so well that, I mean, Matt Kohrs, like, if you like the guy or not, he's the biggest meme stock whatever live streamer during market hours, blah blah blah, that you can watch, and he got convinced. Yeah. That, you know, is so convinced that his opinion changed. Yeah. Granted, I guess he changed his opinion later, but I mean, like, you can't blame anyone for changing their opinion.
Well, especially when you have, like, you know, I think he averages around 10 to 15,000 viewers. I don't know what it was back then.
I mean, he was getting like 50K at one point. Okay, so which was crazy. To me.
We'll just assume like a painful metric towards his character, because this is nowhere near what he gets in viewership, especially back then. But just to assume the minimal, right? You have, I don't know, 500 people who are in your chat. You know, whether you like him or not, he's actually a very important figure. You know, we'll still joke about him, you know. Yeah, of course. Everybody gets a little bit of shit in this community, that's without a doubt. Yep. But everybody plays their role, and Matt is really undervalued, I think, from the public's perspective of him, because he's the one guy who has consistently stuck around, and regardless of where you think that motive comes from,
money.
What's going on? But
I'm no denying he's made a shit ton of money.
No. And you know, I think,
but I know, you know,
the pragmatist in me thinks that he's earned that. I think I can.
Well, he definitely has, because you know why? He was first. He was the first one to really do it.
He was at the
he
front
quit
line.
his job.
Yeah.
He just started streaming market every day. Yeah. And he was there every day. No one else was doing that. No one else thought to do that. Yeah. No one, like, it kind of, I would say that the people who are doing YouTube and analysis now probably would still be around if it wasn't for him, but maybe it would have just taken a little bit longer. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people saw, you know, how much attention he was getting and said, fuck this kid, I could do this better. Like, well, like, who is this guy? I could do this.
Yeah. And, you know, at one point I was playing bingo on my live stream of his stream, because it was becoming so repetitive, and there was some comedic incentive for me.
That's hilarious.
Back in the good old days. But
let's pull up Vortex.
Right. Debated by Super Chat to say something shilly. Yeah. But in all seriousness,
ignore Super Chat.
Right. But in all seriousness and respect given to the guy, like, he has been the only person who has consistently stuck around, regardless of whether you think that he will pivot, or you think he's in it for the money, or this or that. Like, everybody has their laundry list of shit, whether it's in this community or in life. And the way that the stage has been set moving forward, because there's been a bunch of phases of our own little zeitgeist, our own little traversal of the story arc with AMC and GameStop. Matt has ended up being a very key figure to the way that the world has this situation presented to them. For example, being on mainstream media, or being with Jon Stewart and Dave Lauer on that panel. You know, that the reason why you see picks like that, as far as characters go, is because there has to be consistency. There has to be quasi-political correctness. I don't think that's a warranted term for me to use, but for lack of a better word, I'm going to use that. He checks all the boxes, and obviously he gives a shit enough that he's willing to get up every day and do this, especially with, you know, down days. You know, I don't stream on down days because, one, that just fucking sucks.
And boring.
And depressing, yeah. And two, you know, I don't want to subject people who watch my content to, you know, literally just, we're going down 20% today. We don't know it yet, but over the course of the next 6.5 hours, you're going to see this fucking thing lose 20% of its value. you know, that just fucking sucks. And I don't want to fucking put people through that. And, you know, I have a level of commitment where I don't quite want to cover anything, a variety that goes beyond AMC and GameStop. You know, I might dabble somewhere else, but I always stick to these two core things because I'm researching them. I'm trying to develop my own theses. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds too much like feces. Cycle theory, by the way. Because evidently that was dog shit. Not really. It's still in play. You just don't know it yet. What the go fuck your mother!
Is it still on?
Yeah, try it one more time. It might have just bugged.
It's weird that there was a knock, the camera turned off, and then the light.
It's the ghost of Moaz past. God damn it.
FBI, open up!